What's good, everybody? This is Sabre Finding 4. Today we're going to be ranking the 8 most expensive cards from EX Sandstorm, the second EX series set. The rules are going to be the same as the last video, EX Ruby and Sapphire. I'm going to look at the most recent sale as possible. Not all of them are going to be from 2023 because these cards, they don't sell every day, especially at PSA 10. But the aim is to use the most recent sale we can find and the most expensive price they went for, of course. So we're going to start things off with number 8, and it is going to be Aerodactyl EX. The most recent sale was in 2023 in March, and it sold for $449. Now, it's an EX, it's Aerodactyl, you could say somewhat popular Pokemon. The artwork is fine, it's unique, but it's not the greatest. It is a fossil, so it was a pain to get out. The Pokebody was fairly strong, you could say. It would block your opponent from playing Pokemon tools and get rid of any Pokemon tools they already had. But it had to be active. But I mean, I think it's mostly because it's just an EX and Aerodactyl that it gets this sort of price. It's not really iconic from the playability side of things. But it's Aerodactyl, it sold for that price, so we're putting it at number 8. Number 7 goes to Aggron EX. Now this is an equally unimpressive card in terms of playability. Maybe you could say it's a bit better than Aerodactyl, maybe you could say it's worse. It's a Metal EX with that double weakness, which is really bad. And with Metal in Generation 3, you only had 4 special Metal energies to work with, and you had to use things like Rainbow energies and other types of special energies to power these guys up. Now you can use, you only need 2 to make his big attack, but it wasn't so great. 50 plus 20 to all of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Now if you can get the max value, then the damage is going to add up. But it's still kind of difficult. Most would still agree this isn't a very good card. I mean, this doesn't really have much to stand out, unless you want to have negatives that stand out. But the latest sale was actually in 2021, so it's a while ago, you could say, a couple of years. It sold for $459, so if you compare it with Aerodactyl, which is a more recent sale, I'd say Aerodactyl would be a more valuable card to have in PSA 10. I don't know, I mean, artwork-wise, I would put Aggron ahead. I think this is a cooler looking card if you just go by the artwork. I own both of these cards, and yeah, Aggron in real life too. It just looks better. Looks better in real life, looks better on a PC screen. But it should be noted that a couple of years ago, I mean, these types of cards were more expensive. I don't really know though. I mean, maybe they didn't go for that much, these specific ones. Who knows? Maybe sometimes it's just luck. You can get a good deal, or somebody pays too much for a card they shouldn't have really paid for if you go by comparative pricing. So yeah, it is ahead of Aerodactyl though, so we got to put it at number 7. So that's Aggron. Then we go to number 6, which is going to be Zangoose, just a regular holo card. Now the latest sale was in 2022 in January, so start of 2022. So it's been a while. $480. Now, there isn't really that much to talk about this card. It has that, rivalry going with Seviper. With Target Slash, it's going to do a lot more damage specifically to that Pokemon. It also can't be poisoned. Once again, counter to Seviper and other poison Pokemon. The only sort of cool thing about it, the Super Slash attack, if you attack an evolution Pokemon, it's 60 for 3. And that's actually pretty good for back then. I'm not gonna lie, this was very strong damage. And it's a colorless Pokemon. You could use any energies to make this work. So playability wise, it can actually work as a tech index. But other than that, I mean, both Aggron EX and maybe even Aerodactyl EX, you could say they're cooler cards, they're EXs. But I mean, it's not too bad actually, artwork wise. And the Pokemon in question, Zangoose, is also a cool Pokemon from Gen 3. But I will admit, it did sort of surprise me a little bit to see this card this high, especially because there are other holo cards that I'd say might be still cooler from Sandstorm. But anyway, this is number 6 for Zangoose. And then we go to number 5, Gardevoir EX. I think you guys would be expecting that. Maybe you expect it to be higher, maybe not, but the sale that I got in question is very recent. It's 2023 in March, so a couple of months you could say, 5-6 months. Not doing the math right now, but $546, that's a good chunk for a PSA 10 Gardevoir EX. Definitely was a lot more expensive if you go a few years prior to 2023. Popular Pokemon, Gardevoir EX, even if it's for the wrong reasons. Cool Pokemon, no doubt for sure. And it was a very playable Pokemon for back then, pretty much the entire EX era. Very, very strong Sandstorm attack, and it comboed with all the other Gardevoirs that give you energy acceleration and other effects. It was pretty strong. The double weakness was shit on a Pokemon like this, but it came with it. And other than that, I mean, it secures its spot at number 5. I own this card as well in its English form and in Japanese too. It's really fly. I'd say I actually do like some of the regular Gardevoirs better, like the Kensugi Mori one. But, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to look at them side by side. It is a very cool holographic card for sure. Then we go on to number 4. This was another surprise along with Zangoose. It's Sableye. Most recent sale was in 2020 and it sold for $608. Now, definitely a while ago. I mean, 3 years. It was in December 2020, so almost 2021. But still a while ago. It almost seems like a sin to put this card ahead of Gardevoir EX and even maybe the other EXs, but I had to do it. I mean, it just sold for more money. It was a longer while ago than the Gardevoir sale, but you got to keep in mind too, the pop as well. Like, there's more Gardevoir EXs that got graded, and people are aiming to sell them, trade for them, that sort of thing. Definitely less or fewer Sableye cards in PSA 10, I would imagine, because many people don't grade these regular holo cards or cards that would seem lesser, you could say. So when people really want to get a specific card like this, there's less of them around in PSA 10 form as well. So you got to keep these things in mind. It does have one unique thing about it, the supernatural attack, which you look at your opponent's hand and you use as a portal card you find there. I think that's what it does. I can't be bothered to read it right now. Little letters on the PC screen. But I believe that's what it did. Similar to a Smeargle that worked as a Pokepower that was much more broken. But still pretty good. I mean, Sableye, you could use it as a support Pokemon. The second attack isn't that great. I guess you could discard a Darkness and then it does guaranteed paralysis. But whatever. Artwork wise, there's other Sableyes that look better than it, I'd say. Especially because it comes as a holo too. Like if it wasn't even a holo, it looked worse. But I'd actually put Zangoose ahead of this card, like me personally, in terms of the artwork and playability wise. But for the sake of fairness, it has to get the number 4 rank. Then we go to number 3, which is the Jolteon holo card from the set. EX Sandstorm did have evolutions as holos and regular rares. It's a bit annoying when, you know, some of them get the holo treatment, others don't. Like because it's evolutions, I'd expect they sort of even them out, but I guess they don't do that, or at least they didn't do that back then. So for example, Vaporeon, Umbreon, Espeon did not have holo cards, but Jolteon and Flareon did, and I think that's about it. That's all we had back then. The sale is fairly recent, 2023, February, $660, PSA 10 for this card. Quite fly. Now, I think I might own this card. I don't remember. I don't own it in PSA, obviously. I only have a few PSA cards, but I do have it as a actual card in my album. I think I do, at least. I sort of forget, but I think I do. And it is a cool holographic card. I think I'd say the Flareon still looks cooler, but it's Jolteon. The attack isn't that great, I'd say. You could discard all of the energies and you do 70 for 3 as opposed to 40. It's a stage 1. There's an Electabuzz from that era that's a basic that is almost as good. It has the same, almost the same attack, but it's a basic. So they both have, I guess, advantages and disadvantages over each other. But anyway, this is Jolteon, deserves the number 3 spot. Then we go on to number 2, which is Wailord EX. Some of you might have thought this card was going to be number 1, and I thought so too. But it's actually number 2, at least on this list, from the statistics we gathered. So recent sale, once again, in 2023 in February, and it sold for $732. Now this Pokemon is iconic and famous because just out of nowhere, you go and from EX Ruby and Sapphire, you know, EX Sandstorm, and then boom, 200 HP Pokemon comes at you. Crazy. We had the EXs in this era and they would go over the 120 HP, but then you go from that, you go to the other stage 2s, you know, 150, 140 HP, and then this guy goes to 200, just like that. It was insane. I mean, it was going to be a while ago before somebody topped this Pokemon. And it was going to be another Wailord card, basically, if I'm not mistaken. Well, actually, no. We got a Wailord card with 200 in DP. I think we might have got in black and white. But maybe I think it was just a Mega Pokemon that went over 200. I don't remember. But, I mean, it was crazy HP, no doubt. The attacks weren't very good. But I mean, it just stands out because of that HP. It looks very good as a holographic card for sure. I like the artwork on it. Beautiful card, you know, underwater, well Pokemon. You can go back and forth if it'd be more expensive than the number 1 I'm going to show, and maybe it was a couple of years ago. If you look at more PSA 10 sales and stuff, maybe it'd be ahead. But for number 1, according to our rules, it just has to be Raichu EX, 2023, latest sale. March, so a bit ahead than the Wailord, and it sold for $849, well, $850 pretty much, and it's Raichu EX. Now, this is a cool looking card. I also have it. You could say it's more playable than the Wailord 2, thanks to Mega Thunderbolt. Did 120 for 3, you discard all energies, but you do a decent chunk. Now, you could use some energy acceleration Pokemon, like eventually when we got the Delta Species Dragonite that gave you lightning energy acceleration. But that was used with Metagross because it was just better. And in many ways, Rayquaza EX would be better than it too. This just, I guess, gives you more damage for, and you don't need to dual energies. You discard perhaps, it's a faster way to do 120 than the Rayquaza, let's just say that. They discard the same amount at the end of the day for that. But I mean, Rayquaza is ultimately better. Basic Pokemon too, same HP. And it can go even higher than 120. I'm pretty sure it's not for competitive reasons. This card fetches this price. It's because it's Raichu. Cool looking card. Makes this sort of a shock attack ready to go. Evolution of Pikachu. And I mean, it just looks cool. It looks like a fly card. So it secures its spot as the most expensive card from EX Sandstorm, at least so far. So this is the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time. What up?